fucking reason, right? But your husband can't get a little action there today. But you just sit here and act like nothing. Yes, it does. It has everything to do with it. It has everything for you to sit here and practice. Look at me when I talk to you. It has everything for you to do. You sit there and tell me. You have everything for you to do is sit there and tell me I'm not good enough for you. But you can sit there.
One, two, three. Okay, let's just cut through the BS. Alrighty, so Vanguards and more rivals, am I right? A few days ago I made a video about the current state on specific Vanguards in the game. You guys really showed support on that video and it really means the world to me. I wanted to make a follow-up and talk about the Vanguard role overall this time, and get into exactly why the role feels like, like shit to play. Reason number one, you can't play the tank you want to play, for the most part. What I mean by this is there comes to a point where you want to play Thing, or you want to play Thor, or you want to play Hulk, and you just can't because either A, you are solo tanking and can't for the life of you get a teammate to go second tank, like complete outright refusal, so guess what you're stuck playing? Magneto. Or B, the enemy team is dishing out so much poke damage that you can't even turn the corner without a Hela, Hawkeye, or God knows who else instantly deleting about half of your HP in a matter of milliseconds, so guess what? You end up being stuck playing Magneto. I think this has always been the case in past seasons to some extent, but I feel like in season 5.5 specifically, with the current ongoing meta, it's a lot more likely that one has to limit their playstyle to default to the meta playstyle of say Magneto or Groot. And not a lot of Vanguards like that, me included. It just limits expression and creativity into just playing the quote correct way, which I'll be honest is not fun at all. For context, I main Magneto, I find him fun, I know, crazy, right? But I can also acknowledge that he's definitely one of the most drier Vanguards out there by far when compared to characters like Thor, Thing, Hulk, Venom, Captain America, Rogue. In fact, when I pick any of the other characters I just mentioned, I can have more fun with them than I do Magneto. However, for the most part, you just aren't allowed to have fun at all as a Vanguard. You will sometimes get situations where your team tells you to switch, even though it's not even due to your own bad performance, yet they'll remain the same characters they selected at the start of the round. You can't just play the Vanguard you want to play. The game incentivizes this, it seems, and also other players push this on you as well. It just feels like you're a prisoner with no freedom of choice. Now, obviously there isn't some divine being keeping you from sticking with the tanks you want to play. I mean, right? But the fact that it's almost considered more of a disadvantage in this game's current state makes it feel like it. Reason number two, the amount of crowd control on the game. Now, CC has been brought up quite a bit over the last season and a half, maybe 2 seasons. Can anybody tell me why a character like Winter Soldier has CC up the wazoo? Or why Invisible Woman's entire kit includes slowdown and displacements in many ways? Or why Daredevil of all people has a slowdown? There are so many characters in this game that get some form of CC, be it hard CC or soft CC, hard being actual stuns and soft being slowdowns and displacements. There was a time where I was playing Miss Luna Snow herself, and I was, you know what? Roll the clip. Here I was thinking Luna broke a heel or something, but no, I was slapped with so much CC for so long. Crowd control is just so volatile in this game and it affects everyone. Downright makes certain characters unplayable. But you wanna know which role gets affected by this the most? You guessed it, Vanguards. Hulk is almost downright unplayable right now because after one leap into the enemy backline, boom, you're stunned. Then boom, you're slowed down. Then boom, you're stunned again. And then boom, you're slowed down again. And then, well, after that, you're 6 feet under. The problem here when it comes to Vanguard and CC is that not all roles are created equally. That's a given. Each roles have their own high and lows. Crowd control affects everybody, except it affects tanks more than strategists and duelists because as a tank, your job is to create space and essentially you act at the center of engagements for the other 2 roles for the most part. Think of it like this. People complain about high heals in the game, which I've already talked about before in the past. Imagine if there were 60 forms of anti-heal or healing reduction in the game. That would be overkill, especially for the strategist role overall. So why is it that there are 60 forms of CC in the game? Now for a quick flash round, Vanguards are mostly slave to a meta. It's quite similar to reason number 1, but in this case, you as a Vanguard have to adapt to meta shifts more than any role in the game. More than Duelist, more than Strategist. I know some people may be thinking that I'm exaggerating. Now you may ask, Magneto, Groot, and Emma are meta. What do you mean then? And to that, well, can we ask why these characters are good? Why they are meta? Because for the most part, they are an answer directly to what goes on in the game around them. For example, with Poke, Hawkeye, Hela, Winter Soldier, they all benefit from somebody, the tank, being in the way between them and the rest of the enemy team. Oh, and I almost forgot about this reason, and this is a pretty big one, and that is that Vanguards get less points in competitive compared to Duelists and Strategists. Now this has always been an issue in Marvel Rivals since day one, and while people were aware of it, I feel like it just hasn't blown up to the proportion that it should be blowing up in. Like a few days ago, a creator by the name of Death and Gaming uploaded a video called The Tank Tax, or The Tank Tax Problem, and in that video he talks about how Vanguard gets less points than say a role like Duelist, and for every single point in that video, I 100% agree. When it comes to the scoreboard, it favors Vanguards the least. A lot of what a Vanguard is supposed to do goes beyond a scoreboard. Yes, you're supposed to get final hits. Yes, you're supposed to mitigate damage. Yes, you're supposed to do damage, but the game at the moment favors high damage over anything else. That's why you can still see duelists who die like 18 times but still manage to get MVP. In a competitive match where you are sweating your ass off and you manage to win as a Vanguard, you might just get rewarded 15 points, while the duelists that were on your team that may have not performed as good as you still gain more than you, either be it 18 points or 20 points. And that just adds to the fact that nobody wants to play Vanguard. Why would you want to bust your balls on a role that you're just not rewarded as compared to other roles in the game? It's just so unfair. I think there's a lot of things that a good Vanguard does that isn't even attributed in the scoreboard. Now, even though this is universal, the game doesn't account for peeling, the game doesn't account for body blocking that is not with shields, or the simple mind game of creating space as a Vanguard. It's either about high healing or high damage. The current scoreboard in Marvel Rivals does not favor Vanguards or do them justice, not one single bit. And the fact that this has been a thing since the start of the game makes it even worse. What Netease is essentially telling Vanguard players, like, hey, we know there's a lot of stuff in the game that goes against tanks like CC and a lot of other things that just make the tank experience miserable. We're gonna be giving you less points for playing the most miserable role in the game since day one. Like, guys, if that isn't a slap in the face, I don't know what is. Honestly, on paper, having performance dictate into how many points you get in competitive sounds nice, but it is such a flawed system that the game just can't detect everything of what actually is valuable in the game. It just sees things in a black and white way without actually attributing the more sophisticated things that the Vanguard role has to do. So honestly, I think everybody should get a baseline amount of points that is just similar across the board. I don't think anybody else should get less. I don't think anybody else should get more. And honestly, it's kind of ridiculous that we are over a year in and Netease still has not addressed this or done anything to fix it. We all know that this game is very duelist heavy, that Netease very much favors the duelist role and duelist players, because let's be honest, that's what a majority of players that play this game are, especially your casual average Joe. It's all duelists. Duelist is the baby of the game. And not saying that, oh, the role is easy, it's just that Netease definitely will, cater to them more than any other role in the game. And to me, that's a problem, because I think every single role, especially tank, should all be treated the same as every other role. Now, just a quick intermission right here in the video. If you guys haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. A lot of you guys have been showing an immense amount of support, and it means the world to me. And if you're watching this video and you just like it in some way, shape, or form, come on, just hit the little sub button. Hell, even just giving a like and leaving a comment helps a bunch. I do love to encourage discussion within the community, even if our opinions differ. As long as it's respectful, then it's all good whether you agree with me or not. But now, let's just get back to the main points. Reason number 3. Netease still continues to add tanks that cannot stand on their own. Take a tank like Magneto, Emma, Groot, or to some extent Doctor Strange. Kind of. A lot of these tanks have the ability to play footsies in neutral with the enemy team. Now, these are fighting game terminologies, so I'll explain what footsies are per the FGC glossary. Footsies, a complicated, often nebulous term that refers to the battle for controlling the space in front of you, often used by using good pokes. In essence, you are trying to get a range you like, while trying to deny your opponent getting a range that they like. Tanks in Marvel Rivals that have the tools to allow them to keep up such fundamentals are capable of being a solo tank. They play the footsies game well in order to control that neutral. What I mean by neutral is the space and containment of potential engagements within a match. It's important for tanks to control the neutral so that the rest of the team can enact their game plan as much as the tanks themselves. Characters like Thing, Hulk, Rogue, Venom, Thor, Angela, and Captain America do not have the tools or game plan to control the neutral by playing the footsie game. These characters are clearly designed to be one of two tanks in a game, to more so be disruptors to the neutral of a match. which is why they lack so many fundamentals that tanks such as Emma, Magneto, and Groot may have. Now that's not a bad thing, okay, as having certain tanks like Angela or Captain America brute force a shift in the enemy formation can actually be essential in a match. However, in a setting where it's not guaranteed that you're going to get a second tank, it's extremely hard to play these disruptor Vanguards. And like, why are there so many of them in the Vanguard roster? The ratio of tanks that can consistently stand on their own compared to those who can't is highly off balance. How can somebody who wants to play Thor, for example, be able to do so alone in a way that doesn't put their team at a disadvantage? They just kind of have to accept that there is no other way, like at all. That kind of sucks, but it's just an unfortunate truth. Now, I would be okay with this to some extent if it weren't for this predicament applying to more than half of the Vanguard roster. In my opinion, that is a flaw. These three reasons I gave all pretty much intertwine with each other in many ways. The reason why nobody wants a tank at all in Mall Rivals is because some of the reasons I gave, which obviously in turn creates the gap of not having a second tank for the most part in your matches. Now, obviously everyone's experience differs, but based on my personal experience and that of many people within the community, it's a pretty common issue and one that Netease has not really addressed as of yet. Look, I think right now the hot topic of discussion is triple support and role queue, but these are like mostly issues that stem from the complaints between duelists and strategists. I feel like when it comes to the major outcries in this game, it's always usually about both duelists and strategists in some way, shape, or form, and I just feel like Vanguards are just drifting. Like, don't get me wrong, Vanguards like I have complained for a while, and the sentiment that no one likes tanking is pretty well known within the community, but ever so after a few meta shifts, it feels like people forget about the issues Vanguards have been having. Like, it's always about them. And I don't want to make this to be like, oh boo-hoo, look at me, but I think it's safe to say that when it comes to bickering about gameplay problems in the game overall, Vanguards are just quietly sat there while their mom and dad fight again for the night. Like, I don't know, man. Right now, I will say that we are in a desperate need for a shakeup throughout the entire game overall. With the way things are in terms of what's quote good in the game, it just leaves little room for actual creativity, expression, and fun in the game for the Vanguard role. I know I keep saying this, so sorry about that. Anyways, to my Vanguards out there, our time is coming, trust, but in the meantime, we gotta get back to playing Magneto. But yeah, to close off this video, let me know what you guys think about the Vanguard role as a whole. What changes do you think certain tanks can have to make them more sustainable as a solo tank, if that should be the thing? This is Nen signing out, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.